Hey guys, it's Duchess, and today is my birthday. That's like exciting, I guess. By the time this video actually comes out, it'll be noon Eastern Standard Time, so I'd be 18 minutes away from actually being 20. But by the time everyone's viewing this, I will be 20 already. I don't feel any different, but I have a lot of plans for today. My mom is taking me and my sisters out for a girls' lunch, and then it is a tradition every birthday that I get hot wings because that's my favorite food, and key lime pie for dinner because that is my favorite dessert. I'll probably play some video games with my friends as well because that's something that I would like to do. But yeah, so this is part 2 of my special birthday video weekend, I guess you could call it. The first video, which I will link, is my Minecraft video where I made my Minecraft skin in a modern house in the middle of the woods, and now I will be building my own house in Newcrest in The Sims 4. I had a lot of fun. I think Kaz honestly is one of my favorite things about The Sims 4. I could spend literally hours creating just a singular sim. I have kind of fallen into my own style of Sims, if that makes sense, but I still can spend like a really long time building making Sims in Kaz. I will say though is I am not one of those types of people that can make really realistic looking Sims. This Sim that I created is supposed to be me. There's a couple of features that are distinctive features that are missing. I got the beauty mark by the lip, but I actually have a beauty mark on my nose and on the right side, and 2 directly on top of each other under my right eye, and I have a mole right next to my right eye. So I have a lot of distinctive features that I couldn't really incorporate, and then I think the nose is wrong. I think that's the one thing that's bothering me the most. I couldn't really find I spent so much time looking for a nose and I couldn't find a good one, so I just went with that one. And then I got rid of all of I didn't get rid of, I just currently don't have my CC folder in the game, so I didn't have a lot of hair options, so I just went with something pretty basic, similar to my own hairstyle. I should also quickly explain that my aspiration is musical genius because I am a music major. I did creative and bookworm because I'm creative and a bookworm, and then the third one is Ravenclaw because I am a Ravenclaw. But now we're getting started on the actual house. I wanted to build a tiny house because I love tiny houses so much. Before I started my channel, I was thinking about ways that I would brand myself and my content would be, and initially I was just going to do Sims content because at the time I had not played Minecraft before or Among Us, and so I was just going to do The Sims. And so I was going to create tiny homes for the most part. But then once I started developing my own build style, I was able to kind of branch out and do bigger lots. I struggle a lot with building mansions and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to just do tiny homes. But then I ended up being able to build normal sized houses, like I would say tiny homes, even like micro homes, up until like a medium small house. And so that's kind of why I branched out a little bit. But we're going back to my roots just a tad. As of right now in the video, it's 63 out of 64, so this is a legitimate tiny home. There's the micro home that's 32 squares, and then there's a small home that's 100 squares. And for the majority of the video, it's a tiny home, but then at the very end, I just decided to expand my room, which is upstairs, just a little bit, and so it ended up being a small house. I prefer to have tiny homes or micro homes because of how many perks you get, but I don't think I'd be playing in this house as much. So I just didn't think it mattered that much. But so in this build, I used a lot of the Nifty Knitting and the Tiny Home packs. The reason why I picked these 2 is because they are super cute. They have a lot of colorful items in the pack, and I really like super colorful things. Like my bedroom is chartreuse, which is a type of green, so it's like a light green, and then I have aquamarine sheets. I have a really big pink lamp. My record player is aquamarine. I have some yellow pillows. So there's just a whole bunch of colors going on in my room. So that's why I wanted to pick these packs, because I could incorporate a lot of color into the build. And in the bathroom, initially I was going to make it a wet room. Usually when I do tiny homes, I build a bathroom, is usually a 1x3, and then I do a sink, a tub, and then I'd have the Discover University shower on the wall. But in this one, I wanted to have a window in the bathroom because I cannot live without windows. My bedroom used to be in the basement of our house for a period of time, and it was just so depressing and sad because it was just dark all the time. There was no natural light, and that's where I would spend a lot of my time. So I eventually moved back upstairs to the top floor, and I have some really nice natural light happening, which I'm really happy about. But that's why I wanted to include a window in the bathroom, because I personally cannot live without natural light. I don't know how anybody else can. I just need windows in my life, so that is why I incorporated a window. By the way, this bed that I used, which is the Seasons bed, is my all-time favorite bed. It looks so cozy and I use it all the time. There's certain colors that I don't really use. This is like the yellow salmon-y one that I wanted to use because I wanted the room to be pink, and that would go really well with the pink. I use the plain white one a lot because it goes with everything. It's literally just white. And there's a couple of other swatches, like the blue gray one that I usually like to use, but this bed just looks so comfortable. So I like to incorporate it into all of my builds basically when I get the chance. Usually if I incorporate it in a build, it'll go into a parent's room or a grandparent's room, so usually older people, but I just love that bed so much. I also really love the Cool Kitchen set. I typically lean towards using either Cool Kitchen or Jungle Adventure because I just love the Jungle Adventure counters. I think if I usually want to go for a more sleek look or just a simpler look, then I'll go for Cool Kitchen. But if I want something a bit more colorful, then I'll use Jungle Adventure because it's more colorful and the style of it is kind of like more rounded if you just like look at the handles and stuff like that. So I'm kind of surprised that I didn't use Jungle Adventure because I think it would go really well in this style of house, but the first thing I grabbed was Cool Kitchen and I just didn't even think about doing anything else. Even though there wasn't a lot to go with it, I really struggled with the kitchen. Initially, it was just going to be across the entire wall. And then I was like, oh wait, I need to do laundry somehow. And I personally am not about to do laundry outside. I know that is more eco-friendly. I don't mind having like a clothesline to like dry my clothes, but I needed like a washer and dryer, and I decided to just do both. So then I put that on the very edge. And then I was like, oh wait, I need a fridge. So then I had to remove one of the counters. So I actually don't really have any space to cook now, but like, it's okay. It's fine. I don't need a counter to cook. I'll just move stuff. Also, I love these curtains. These curtains are my all-time favorite curtains. I don't use them a lot because they're usually really colorful and they're really thick, so they don't fit into every style of a build. Even if a build happens to be really colorful or something like that, they just don't necessarily fit the aesthetic. But this is my house, so I can do whatever I want. So I put these curtains everywhere. I started just on the big window at first and then in my bedroom, but then I ended up putting it on every single window except for the one in the kitchen and the one in the bathroom, and then the set of really small windows above my bed because they wouldn't really fit there. That would kind of be like an awkward place to put them. I also used the Eco Lifestyle flooring. This is my favorite flooring to use when I'm doing like colorful builds because it's such a nice, especially this swatch, it's such a nice wood color. It doesn't necessarily go with the Cool Kitchen, the brown on the countertops and the cabinetry, but it doesn't clash so much that like I felt that I needed to change the way that the kitchen looked. So I just kept it and it looked really good. Also, I'm gonna be saying this a lot throughout this entire video because considering that it is my house and I'm building this house for me, I used the majority of all of my favorite things. So the base game paint that I'm using with like the crown molding, that is my favorite paint to use. I just think it makes a room look so nice. Typically I'll use the dark blue or the dark red or the like neutral brown / the taupey gray brown. I'd use those for the most because those are very standard basic colors. They can go with everything, and it is, I would consider it a gender neutral, so you can put it into any house and any general area in that house and have it fit. But once again, this is my house, so I get to kind of explore different colors. I really like this. It's not necessarily periwinkle because periwinkle would have a bit more purple in it, but it is this like nice light gummy blue that I really, really love. And then I did a dusty rose color in my bedroom. That specific shade of pink isn't my favorite shade of pink. I would just say just like a very basic pink would be my favorite, but I think that doing a brighter pink was kind of a lot in the bedroom, so I went for a more muted dusty pink, and that made it so that I can put a lot of other brighter colors within the room and still have it look really good without having it look super crazy. I also debated on changing the bed because I was second guessing that specific swatch, but I also didn't want it to be the plain white swatch, so I played around a little bit, but then eventually I just kept it. I also decorated in the room. I put one of the knitting bags on top of the dresser because I actually really love knitting. I started knitting when I was in the 3rd grade because the girls in my class wanted to make a knitting club, so we started doing that. If I didn't do that, I would have had to learn how to knit regardless, because in the 7th grade at my middle school, we had a required project to knit a 5-foot shawl for somebody. So I did that. I ended up finishing really early because, like I said, I love to knit. So I finished within the first 2 months of school, I would say, and then just did my own knitting projects. And so yeah, that's why I incorporated that into the build. I was a little concerned initially with the rug situation because I just placed down the circular one, and then I eventually placed down one at the front door, so that's 4 rugs in one room. But this floor just looked really empty, and I think having a few neutral rugs made it look pretty good. Getting to the outside, first of all, I think building for yourself is so freeing. I understand that like there aren't any limitations unless you put limitations on yourself, which is fine, but I think I just love landscaping any way I want to, which is one of the reasons why in a couple of videos ago I mentioned how I love landscaping in Glimmerbrook, because I personally really love bright colors and bright flowers and stuff like that and a lot of foliage, but that doesn't necessarily fit everywhere. But because I'm building for myself, I can add whatever the heck I want, and so I added those nice flowers in the front of the house. Also, that cypress tree, I'm pretty sure it's a cypress tree, like the graveyard tree, something like that. That is my favorite tree to use. I think it just fits really perfectly on the corners of houses. It frames a house really nicely and just adds some extra green going up without being this really huge, gigantic tree. The backyard is a bit disappointing in the sense that I didn't really know where to go with it because it was kind of like a tiny home. I didn't want the backyard to be huge. I couldn't add, I didn't want to add any more like platforms or a deck or anything like that. So I just went with a simple pool with 2 reclining chairs from Island Living. I did the nice little picnic table at the back with the umbrella. That's super cute, and yeah, that's all I really needed. I also added a grill because I personally really love to grill. That's like a fun little tidbit about myself. I know I don't seem like the typical person that would like to grill, but a couple of years ago, actually, we were supposed to have like hot dogs and hamburgers for dinner. My dad was sitting on the couch and he was like, "Duchess, why don't you just like go out and grill and I'll show you how." So my dad taught me how to grill a couple of years ago, and it's really fun. So that's why I added a grill. I also added some planters in the back because I also really love to garden, but not too much, which is why I did like the little planters, because I think that's kind of like low-key gardening where you don't have to get down and dirty into the dirt and get like your shovels and whatnot out. It's just very simple, very calming, and so I thought that would be a nice touch to the back. So now we're just getting into some finishing touches with the alarms, and I put some flowers on the front window by my bedroom, and we're getting into some pictures. I really loved how everything turned out. I love my bedroom. I really like small bedrooms and larger living spaces, so I think that works really well for me. I love the living room and the dining room, although the dining room isn't really a room, or the living room. I like the TV underneath the stairs. I think that makes things look really nice, as well as having the kitchen completely on the back wall. It just makes it so that there's more space to walk around. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. Have a good day.